Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News for Saturday Night Livestream. Hope everyone's buckled in and ready to go, got your popcorn, and sitting back, ready for a stimulating evening of conversation with my good friend, Maryam Henein. You guys, we're going to get into this. We even have a secret special guest, and we're going to be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. Alright guys, I am here yet again to tell you about Raid Shadow Legends. It's one of the coolest new games on the PC and Mac. It's super easy to download, it doesn't take up a bunch of space, it does not require a super gaming computer, and all it takes is a little bit of time, and you will gain the skill. Let's go check it out. So, I've been battling bosses, growing my stable of champions, and leveling up, and if you haven't played yet, the time to start is now. What I really love about this game, besides the graphics and the RPG playstyle, is that there are so many ways to play. You have a story mode campaign, dungeons where you fight bosses to gain artifacts for your champions, the dungeons where you fight against other players online, and clan bosses for super mega boss battles that benefit your clan and raise your standing among others in the game. You can get new characters by entering the portal, selecting a shard from the left, and then click summon and you'll raise up a new character. Henein is still my favorite character. She's got an awesome elven look, she has this cool crossbow, and her spells are very powerful. Basically, if you've got the time, there is no shortage of things you can do in Raid Shadow Legends. Now, Raid on your PC or your Mac has the same great core gameplay as the Android and iOS versions, but the new PC version has a ton of extra graphic goodies. It's amazing. You have to check out the graphics. They're so incredible. There are so many cool animations and cinematics and control customizations for ease of play. The difference is incredible, and it's really, really noticeable. It's a cross-platform game, so when you install the game on your computer, you can continue playing on your mobile device. So basically, you can enjoy playing Raid anywhere at any time. The download and registration runs really smoothly. It only took me a few minutes. And don't worry, you don't need a super powerful processor or a BA gamer's computer to enjoy the speed and the graphics. And look, you've got over 400 champions to collect and emphasize. If you want to join me, I'm part of the members-only clan, and it looks like we've got about 10 spots left. So level up and apply today. What are you waiting for? Go to the description below, click my special link, and get 50,000 free silver along with a free epic champion to start your journey as part of the new player program. Good luck, and I'll see you there. All right, guys, thank you so much for sticking around. Just a quick disclaimer. Remember that RPN is not responsible for the views, actions, or opinions of its guests or advertisers, and an appearance on this program is not to be construed as an endorsement. Now, we're also encouraging all of our viewers to do their own research and never take my word for it. But with all that being said, my good friend Maryam Henein is here tonight, and as I said, we're going to have an excellent conversation. I want to say thank you to everyone who is here this evening. Please do me a favor. Remember to like and share this broadcast so we can help get past the algos, because we know that things are crazy. I've been hearing a lot of information tonight about the fact that the president is being shadow banned on Twitter, as if he wasn't before, but it looks like it is incredibly blatant right now. No tweets since after the 11th, and we know that President Trump doesn't go more than a couple of hours without sending out a few tweets, because he's always got zingers. All right, you guys, I want to say thank you to everybody in the audience. I see we've got patriots from all across the globe. I see Northwest Idaho. I saw Australia earlier. I see the Ozarks. I see Oklahoma. I know that I saw a Michigan and a California. I see Southern California right there. And I saw more than one person say that Mike Bloomberg ads are being played on my videos. How hilarious. Mike Bloomberg putting that $2 billion that he pledged to throw into this presidential campaign into action. I also think it's funny that YouTube wants to start showing videos on, or excuse me, start showing ads on my videos, and they happen to be Mike Bloomberg ads. So please do me a favor and help me collect all of Mike Bloomberg's money. Watch those ads, and I'll try not to say too much on our subject until we get past all of those ads, because I know a lot of them start at the very beginning of the video. But I see so many Patriots in the audience: Southwestern Washington, Texas, Kentucky, North Dakota, Northern California, Vermont, Southern Illinois, Cincinnati, flippin' Georgia, Missouri, Mississippi, Vegas, another one from Australia, Wisconsin, Toronto, Canada. You guys, we've got Patriots from all across the globe. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming my guest, Maryam Henein. Maryam, how are you tonight?
Howdy, Harpy. Very happy to be here again.
Awesome. Well, I am very happy to have you here. And I just want to let everybody know that Maryam has prepared a special deal for the viewers of this program. Honeycolony.com is her website. That's where she produces her journalistic excellence. And she also has a lot of naturopathic products there. So if you go to the website, there's a link in the description below. Use code REDPILL78 and you get 20% off. So Maryam, please
Yes.
tell us what you've been doing since the last time you were here. As if like not much has been going on. It's been crazy.
Right? So much. Gun rally, Virginia. Did a man on the street. Been working with Zak for he's the Google whistleblower, and did a man on the street regarding coronavirus, which we titled "Is this the virus that didn't cry wolf?" I've been covering Corona, which, as you know, it's like there's no shortage of information.
Yeah.
Censorship, as always. Just did two little parodies, which I hope will show in retaliation to the Ministry of Truth's vaccine hesitancy entry, making us have a mental condition, and also covering a doctor, a pediatrician who the news has just been publishing about, as well as the paid shills on Twitter, at least, and Facebook. But the truth is that the man disappeared in August. So why is it that they're talking about him now? Is it to set an example, set off a warning, because he was falsifying documents for a decade to help parents who believe in medical freedom?
Like giving them some type of an exemption so that their children don't have to go through the process of getting the vaccines?
Yeah, exactly. I believe it's in Chicago. As we know, in other states now, doctors are not even allowed to give exemptions, or they have. I think in California, it's 3 or 5 before they get fined.
Really?
So why is the focus on social media by these known, like Gorksky, these doctors, quote unquote, and why is there this frenzy of vaccine mania all over? What's the real agenda, right?
Well, I always just assume that those people are being paid by the companies that own these vaccines. I this is the reason that I got off of Facebook so many years ago, is because it was back when there was that outbreak at yep, there we go. Okay, back when there was that outbreak of, I think it was smallpox or measles or something like that.
Measles in Brooklyn?
In Disneyland
Oh,
in
yeah.
California. And they were
Yes.
blaming parents who didn't vaccinate their children. So I did a little bit of research and I went and read about the efficacy of the MMR vaccine. And there's something like a 90% chance that you can still transmit
Yes.
you can transmit to anybody, even if you or the other person have the vaccine. So
Yeah.
but then again, if you were to contract it and then you get better, which is like what 99% of the people who do, they get healthy, and then they're not going to have to worry about getting it again. So you get a natural immunity rather than getting this vaccine, and then you go through the process of paying for it, the health risks that get associated with it, and then you can still transmit it back and forth, and you're the worse for wear. It doesn't make any sense to me. And
There's a lot.
people were like, it's people like you that is the reason why we still have the measles, or we still have smallpox. And I was like, you guys, all I'm asking you to do is read this white paper, which is from the National Institutes of Health, which is an official government organization. So, take their word for it. Don't listen to me. But, it's all about ridiculing people and shaming them into going along with the mainstream.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. When you take a look and you do a deeper dive, then you realize that in reality, these live attenuated viruses in the vaccines make you shed and make you infectious.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole herd immunity, which I've had a debate with Zak, it was appropriated and maligned by Big Pharma, because when Hydra created it, it applied to natural infectious diseases. In measles, a 68% tipping point before you reach immunity. So natural immunity can be reached, but now they've perverted it so that everyone's highly infectious, and they're blaming the people who believe in vaccine safety. And covering Samoa, we saw that and we're seeing this with coronavirus, that at one point they stopped testing.
Oh, yeah.
So they're not even testing. You can get the measles again and get revaccinated. So in Samoa, for instance, if you could not produce the paperwork, which is the second world country, you had to go put a flag, a red cloth outside to notify people. So imagine that. And now we are in a state of global emergency, which is part of the agenda, arguably, that once you have a global state of emergency, FEMA, for instance, has jurisdiction over the president. It's a totalitarian system. And so we're seeing this again and again, the same kind of playbook. The same thing was in Brooklyn. They blamed it on the Hasidic Jews, but when you look underneath the BS of the MSM, then you realize it's actually the vaccinated kids that are putting others in risk. And we just forget the references like in the Brady Bunch, when the measles have never been deadly. Mm-hmm. We also don't take into consideration the fact that these are mutated strains.
Right.
There's many kinds of measles strains, for instance. And when you speak about COVID-19, it's patented and arguably a bioweapon. But in this case, they've put in so much disinformation, plus you're dealing with a communist country, mm-hmm. so you can't really and even the footage, you have to scrutinize everything, and now there's deep fakes. It's going to be very difficult.
It's a lose-lose situation. I mean, the information coming out of China is spotty at best. I was telling you earlier about that one account that I found, Max Howrout. He seems to have a lot of really good information. Yeah. I mean, firsthand stuff. When you're looking at it, I mean, it's a lot of pictures of the authorities in China, like welding people's doors shut, parking, police cars in front of the entrances to apartment buildings. There's so much going on there. I mean, let's say that you have one infected person who ends up, sealing off an entire apartment complex. We don't know enough about COVID-19 to be able to say, whether or not it passes through aerosolized means. But it looks like the evidence for it's pretty good. I mean, considering the way that people have been infected. Same with the people on the cruise ships, I mean, like they've essentially sentenced all those people to, at best, a very long and painful sickness, and at worst, it's a death sentence. Because they don't know how it transmits.
Cruise ships are cesspools of infectious diseases, having been on one and never will be on one again. Mold, the Ferrari virus that makes you vomit.
I don't know anything about that one.
for hours, but it's a cesspool. And then the quarantine. What I find interesting is, building supposedly 3 hospitals, one within a week in China. The heat maps that show that there's sulfur dioxide in large amounts concentrated, that is a product of burning organic matter, mm-hmm. aka maybe bodies.
Yep, crematoriums.
And then the juxtaposition of the few videos I've seen showing the quarantine centers, the militarized bases, mm-hmm. where it looks like a poor man's version of Club Med. Yeah. Like, come and take your Zumba class,
right?
And they're not wearing masks. Are you kidding me?
They were doing jumping jacks in hazmat suits. I saw that.
So this is to normalize people. Trust me, peoples. the FEMA camps you're not going to take a Zumba class or learn about your taxes.
No.
It's ridiculous.
You're just going to be hanging out in your cot on a basketball court, I mean, and it's also funny that they're framing them as hospitals. I mean, like you're not going to build a hospital in 3 days. You're going to build a camp, and that's all it is really. And I mean, a place to keep people while they can just monitor them. Or, maybe take their measurements. But, you mentioned they stopped testing people. Well, because they ran out of tests. It's impossible. I mean, they're gone. They've used them up worldwide. And, people are coming in, obviously, with too many symptoms. They're just taking the CT scans. And if their lungs look like they're filling up with fluid, then there they go.
If it's pneumonia, John Rappaport, who's been reporting on this, doing great coverage as well, showing that they're lumping them up. And if you see the graph, right, it exponentially went up. Mm-hmm. The MSM is now, I think, at 1,700 deaths, where we're getting reports of 50 to 100,000 deaths, and that this really happened before. And then we know about, Event 201 last year, where they did this whole simulation on how to deal with a pandemic, preparing people. And arguably, they're not taking the proper protocols for quarantine. There's one person on Twitter that's been very vocal about what's happening in Canada, and the fact that they're not quarantining people. Like, it's enough to just say, I don't have a fever. Like, it's strange that they wouldn't take the proper protocols. But in China, Zak has someone there, and they are testing temperatures, right, wherever you go into a public area.
I saw they had the laser thermometers, so they're like sending drones up to people's apartments, or they're just standing 10 or 15 feet away. Real quick, I just need to give a couple of thank yous to the audience. First of all, Trumpet 2020 joined as a member. Thank you very much, Trumpet 2020. Vernon Peterson says President Trump is being shadow banned. Yes, you guys, if anybody here has seen a tweet after the 11th, I really want to talk about it when we get to the call-in section of the show, or you can put it in the chat and I'll try to get it. Brittany Taylor says, I'm a dental hygienist, was just arguing with the dentist I work with about this. We have an immune system for a reason. I'll take natural immunity. There you go, Brittany.
Hello. Our immune system is a vaccine.
Exactly. This was always my argument, and I never understood, why are we taking vaccines? I mean, like, if you even if you do get people, immunized against this, then your children are not going to be immunized against it. Therefore, you're going to have, inbred lineage of people that are open to these diseases in future generations. Danielle Keller says, happy to finally make the actual live stream. Danielle, I am happy that you're here too. Plaid Chad, what's up, brother? I like that Jolly Roger there in your icon. Hope Palmerton, thank you for that. I could use a cup of coffee, Hope, so that's great. Cody Daigle says, FEMA equals foolishly expecting meaningful aid. And I was going to say, it doesn't surprise me too much about Canada. I mean, there's socialized medicine for you. Leah Bird says, hi, Red Pill Patriots and Twitter friends, at Leah Bird Johnso2. Follow Leah Bird Johnso2 on Twitter. Thanks, Leah. Kimberly says, RP78, thanks for having Maryam on here again. She is wonderful, so smart, and has great products on Honey Colony. God bless. Hi, Maryam.
Thank you. Silver is a big seller right now, the chelated silver, because instead of us focusing, all of this fear porn is impacting these stress hormones. We underestimate what stress can do. So let's focus on what we can do, is band together to preserve our constitutional rights and to strengthen our immune system and take proper measures. So having not taken antibiotics, having grown up taking them, having them decimate my gut biome, and now being 9 years almost free because I've built my immune system thanks to silver. So thank you, because because of Google, if you do not put in the search term honeycolony.com, you would never know that we even exist, and we've lost 76% of our traffic because of that. I want to just go back to vaccine hesitancy.
Yeah.
Is it possible to show the little segment that I made, and just to well, I could talk about it afterwards, but I would love to show it.
Let me see. What was the date that you published
it? Pinned. It's pinned.
It's the pinned one. Okay.
And this is a Twitter version because it's a lot longer. So it's just 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Okay, here.
And
I'll go to it. And
so how would I see it if I go to your live stream? Because I won't be.
You'd have to see it on the live stream. Yeah.
Okay.
And how? Oh, there we go. Actually, I have us on there too.
You what?
You'll see it. Okay.
Okay.
All right, here we go, guys.
The following public service announcement is a spoof on the Ministry of Truth's latest Wikipedia entry on vaccine hesitancy, a condition that
Is there
doesn't
sound?
even exist. Do you suffer from vaccine mania and vitriol disorder, also known as VMVD? According to medical freedom fighters and functional medicine practitioners, VMVD has been identified as one of the top global threats in human history ever, violating not only the Nuremberg Code, but common sense itself. Symptoms are as follows. Do you have an allergic reaction to real science, empirical data, and logic? Do you find yourself making TikTok videos in your spare time in order to spread disinformation and lies about vaccine safety into the collective? Do you find yourself wanting to rage against another human being, only to find out that it's actually a parent of a vaccine-injured maimed child and do it anyway? Do you get a proverbial hard-on every time the MSM announces some type of viral outbreak that's going to take us all down? In the world that I want to live in, you are so free to turn yourself into a pincushion. Just don't ask us to do the same. This is Maryam Henein, investigative reporter. Over and out.
How true. Because isn't it always the way that the people who are out there pushing the vaccines are the ones that are not having them themselves or giving them to their children? Like Bill and Melinda Gates, some of the most famous vaccine advocacy people in the world, but they don't actually accept the vaccines themselves. I mean, that's got to tell you something. Real quick, Rich Knapp said, Saturday night with Red Pill. Yes, thank you very much, Rich. Glad you're here. Concrete Watershed, thank you for that super chat. Chris Hawkins says, what? I was so excited for my local FEMA camp. Thanks, guys, for ruining my Saturday night. I love Chris. Social Observer. Oh, hang on. I can't get this one to show up. There we go. Social Observer. Love that TikTok video debunking vaccines, Maryam. Yes. That TikTok video is famous.
Yeah. So I did another one that I would be happy to share, which is an actual parody on the TikTok video that Banned from InfoWars picked up.
Okay,
and
cool.
As a commercial. And that is like, I just take the script and flip it. So just, why I mentioned it's a global threat is because in 2019, very strategically, the WHO announced anyone who opposes vaccine safety is a global threat to society.
Yeah.
I've just taken the script, which is what their Ministry of Truth is doing, is taking a story and reversing it and spewing out lies that the mainstream is just buying up.
Mm-hmm. It's incredible to me that because you don't want your children to get vaccines, that you're now classified as having a mental disorder.
Exactly.
I mean, like, I got a couple of vaccines when I was a kid, but I mean, like, it was nowhere near what they wanted my daughter to get. And I got a medical exemption, thank God, but I don't even think that's available in my state anymore.
What state are you in?
Oh, well, I'm in an undisclosed location.
Okay. Got it.
My friend Son of a Green Card says, I saw the Reddit article from the military official. I just have a question. If the person was in the facility and threw up while he was there, wouldn't he have had to take out his special biomask to do so? And has anyone puked without breathing? So that was actually a creepy pasta, Son of a Green Card. Thank you for the super chat. Mary, you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so yesterday late at night, people send me stuff as a journalist and ask me to look into it. And this was, really late on Valentine's, and Zak and I got into it. And because it weaves, there's so many holes in the narrative, and it addresses the nuances, and then only later did we find out that it's if you go there, it's like fictionalized reality is basically how he mentions it.
Yeah.
So it's a fascinating read. I was accused of being the author, which is an honor. I'm not a novelist.
It was a great job. I mean, the thing about it is that I think the reason it resonated so much is because it really does pull from a lot of the things that, you know, we're suspecting as being true right now. And this is the kind of thing that's going to happen in the absence of any kind of a narrative. You know, when you look around and you see an entire government or, you know, official agency trying to, you know, squelch any discussion or any information from getting out. I mean, clearly China is not interested in having us help out. And in my mind, I mean, that's probably because it is a bioengineered thing. And, you know, I mean, the scientific information that came out when that white paper was written talking about the HIV insertions, you know, I know enough about this stuff to know that is not something that's going to happen in nature. You know, it might over time in different areas, but not in the way in which it was created. So
absolutely.
Somebody had said in the chat they wanted me to say if I understand this. This is a tweet from the president. This is from the 15th. Okay, so I am seeing this, Maryam, and I did not see this earlier when I went to look at the president's Twitter
He tweeted
timeline.
about a NASCAR for tomorrow. Someone tweeted at me because some people are seeing his tweets.
Yeah.
And others, it seems to be like 70-30.
Yeah.
So also, you know, I had posted a interview with Michael E. Jones, and for a whole week I was a non-existent person on Twitter. So by others retweeting, I'm sure this is viral now, they may have addressed the issue.
This is because this is definitely not something that was on his page when I went there. So now the only way that I was able to see it is because someone who did see it retweeted it at me. But it says, IG report on Andrew McCabe. Misled investigators over role in news media. And he spelled role wrong, guys. So there's two L's instead of an E. So I would say that might be something we want to pay attention to. Look for an E or a missing E or an extra L someplace. In the news media disclosure, lacked candor, he lied, on 4 separate occasions, authorized media leaks to advance personal interests, and IG recommended McCabe's firing. So
I just see his tweets now, too. I didn't 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, they definitely were not there. So, I mean, well, just, you know, I mean, to me, you guys, this tweet, clearly President Trump is just pointing out all the things that McCabe did. I think that he probably wants to highlight the I think that he probably wants to highlight the hypocrisy, the things that have happened to people in his orbit and the things that have not happened to those who were involved in the coup to try to remove him. And the IG recommended his firing. McCabe was fired. And he wants people to understand, you know, what kind of a guy McCabe is. So I think that the reason he's highlighting it is because we just had those charges or the declination of prosecution by the DOJ based upon the specific crimes that were alleged previously. We know that there were crooked prosecutors, crooked U.S. attorneys that were involved in those cases. I would say that just based upon that, anything that was done would probably be tainted. And we still have Durham's investigation, which is completely separate. And it is outside of the purview of any of these people who are part of the swamp. So that's what we're going to be looking for. We're going to be looking for that Durham investigation to come to fruition. And I would not be worried. I understand everybody was very upset yesterday when they learned that McCabe was not going to be prosecuted. But don't lose heart. We still have the Durham investigation. That is where everything is going to come from. So what did you think yesterday, Maryam? What was your initial thoughts?
Well, want to state or ask a question of the truth behind arrests only happening after the elections.
I mean, I'm hoping that they happen before the election. I think that...
Hope so, yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I know that if they do happen before the election, then the left and the people who are looking at being arrested are probably going to say that President Trump is doing it just so that he can win. So I think that there's a distinct possibility that the information on the indictments will come out prior to the election. That will color all of those people that are working against him. President Trump will win re-election, and then most likely the trials and subsequent actual sentencing and arrests, those will happen after the election. I think that everything is going to come out prior to November, though, because I think that just the fact that there are ongoing trials and there's real cases taking place in the DOJ, I think that will be a tremendous boost to President Trump. I think it's necessary for a lot of people in the base to trust him and to move forward.
Can we talk about the State of Address? I'm curious to know. State of Union address.
Yeah.
Was watching it with Zak, and we were like, "What is Pelosi doing?" and then it's like, is she tweeting? So that was very interesting, and he didn't shake her hand, and to call a spade, it's like it's all high school behavior, and I would like to see more adulting. And from the Democrats, like even announcing Bloomberg, like there's been rumor, right, that Hillary would get back into the race. And it's like,
as his running mate, yeah.
And be like, but before that, of like, there's no way she's going to run again. Like,
no.
Who the hell wants Hillary?
No.
And, I think that would be, they're just the Democrats having once thought I was a Democrat or resonated with them way long ago, that they're digging their own grave and they're turning people toward Trump. They don't realize that. And I watch Bill Maher, and I am a fan of Bill Maher, and I'm always interested to see how, as a journalist, to sit neutral and see how these two realities are played out. So Bannon was on.
Oh, I saw that.
Last week. He did a great job.
He did. I was actually surprised, considering the way, Bill Maher has been the last couple of years, just with how antagonistic he's been. I mean, I saw Bill Maher live years ago, and I used to watch him all the time. Until basically, it just kind of turned into a Trump bash fest, and then I just felt like I couldn't get into it anymore. But his interview with Bannon, I thought, was very fair, and Steve Bannon, kind of ran circles around him. I mean, like, it showed the difference between the two sides of the coin. I mean, the Republicans really have all their ducks in a row, and the Democrats kind of look like they're just floundering all over the place.
Bill has supported vanishing of the bees, and I've been in talks with him for a couple of years to be on the show, and initially was to talk about the bees, and now it's to talk about big tech, big pharma collusion.
Oh, good.
But I also think toward the end of last season that he closed the session basically saying that there's too much hate, and then he was on Larry King, he was on Joe Rogan.
Good.
And I feel like there's an evolution there, and clearly an acknowledgement of how loved President Trump is.
That's good. Bill's a smart guy, I mean, like, I would hope that he would get it. It's necessary for us to be able to, we were talking about this earlier. I mean, the civility is gone.
Yes.
Whether you don't have to agree with everybody and everything.
Exactly.
But, why can't we talk to each other about it?
Exactly.
And that was honestly what I loved about Bill Maher, is that he would have people from the other side of the aisle, and, they would be able to have that debate, that discussion. And it just seemed like, he got caught up with everybody else, and just, we hate the president. And
it's the virus of hate, I call it.
Is.
I was, leaning more, in 2016, I would have, I had just become an American, and maybe I've mentioned this before. So I didn't vote, but I wouldn't have voted for Hillary. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's a big group of people who are like, F it, I'm going to go with anti-establishment. Let's see what happens.
Right.
And voted for Trump. And then along the way, just being like, there's so much vitriol and hate, and I don't want to be filled with that.
No.
That is not healthy. And at the very least, let's thank this man for bringing things to the surface. Let's look at things through a positive lens.
Mm-hmm.
And I think more than ever, it's important for us to band together. And I even see it in the censorship group, because we're planning to take action, that there's differences, and why can't we practice adulting and civility and just keep our eye on the prize, which is preserving our constitutional rights.
Yes, it's very important. It's absolutely so important. Real quick, Jeff George says, is Maryam Lumbee Indian, North Carolina? Same tattoo.
Come again? These are my B stripes.
Okay.
And after making the film, or during making the film, if I can just share this story,
Please.
I wanted to get a tattoo that represented the honeybees. I didn't know what it was. I did my first ayahuasca ceremony, which is plant medicine, and I saw a big swarm around me, and I just heard the words, "You've earned your stripes."
Well, that's pretty cool.
And so these are my B stripes, and it's the Fibonacci sequence. So if you see, it's 135, which we see in nature. So I don't know who else you're referencing with this tattoo, but
I think he was speaking about a particular tribe of Native American
It's
Indians.
very tribal, and the
is.
person who did it was, doesn't do Mickey Mouse tattoos, for instance.
I love it. Hey Jude says, Q post 3856. Evergreen non-standard definition missing an I. Well, we're looking for an E here, or an L. But thank you, Jude. Dana Finkler says, Paysur Family Podcast coming soon. Dana, is that you? You're going to be doing a Paysur Family Podcast? I'm interested in hearing that, but we can talk about that here on the program if you want to. Social Observer says, Trump is the great revealer. He's not meant to fix everything. It's up to us. I absolutely agree. Social Observer, one of the most astute viewers in my audience, and I appreciate it when he's here. Here's the thing, I was definitely one of those anti-establishment people in 2016. I saw what Donald Trump was saying and what he was doing. And, I heard all the negative things that people were saying about him. And I said, you know what? I said, it doesn't matter. All I know is that Donald Trump is not part of the establishment. He is universally reviled by everyone who is the establishment, whether it was in politics, Republican and Democrat, or in business. People who had previously loved the man, all of a sudden they hate him. He's the worst guy in the world. Or you listen to hip hop, like for the 10 years prior to him running for president, everything's, talking about Trump rich. Okay. And then as soon as he puts his hat into the ring, everybody hates him. I know something's going on here. So it's worth it. It was worth it to me to vote for Trump and to try that out and see where this country went. And, if for the people who are just, orange man bad, I hate him.
Yeah,
they can't get over it. They can't, they got their heads buried in the sand because he has clearly done some really great things for this country and brought so many things to the surface. He's working, to end human trafficking. He's bringing people out of poverty. He's making America a force to be reckoned with again, bringing industry back to this country. Securing this country for future generations. How is that a bad thing?
And if there is a lockdown in China, is this also a tactic to be able to bring jobs back to America and us realize our over-reliance on made in China?
I absolutely agree with you on that. I was just talking about that with my friend Bob Kudla on the show the other day. That was one of the first things that I thought, if this is a biological weapon, and let's say that it's very virulent but not necessarily deadly, is it something that we could have, released as a tactic in this trade war? Because that's exactly what it's doing. You've got Foxconn shutting down basically the whole country. China, only 10% of the people in the workforce are working right now. By the summertime, all of those products are not going to be here. The supply chain is going to be broken, and we're going to have to move towards manufacturing here in America, or at the very least in another country, because, it lives outside the body for something like 24 days.
Yeah.
Okay?
Even 28. It could be on planes, seats for 9 hours. And this is definitely impacting the economy, and maybe that is a because I believe that the governments are in cahoots. I believe that behind the scenes, if China wants to depopulate its peoples, Maybe it's a testing ground. We saw what happened in Samoa. I think that the governments do know about that they're working together. That's my take.
Real quick, I need to say something specifically. Sheila, I did not say that I like Bill Maher. I said I used to like Bill Maher years ago because I have also told everyone that I used to be a Democrat years ago. I used to consider myself a Democrat years ago.
Me too.
I said that I don't care for Bill Maher, and so I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry if you got the wrong idea, but no, I don't like.
I'm the one who likes Bill Maher, and I don't. I'm not ashamed to say it. I do like him, and I appreciate his humor. I appreciate comedians, and I don't need to agree with everything that someone says. To enjoy them or aspects of them. So I'm not ashamed to say that I am a fan.
And again, as my guests and I do not share every single view, it is perfectly within Maryam's right to say that she likes Bill Maher. And I mean, it's not up to me. So, I'm not going to pretend to be a liberal and tell her that she's wrong, because she has her own views. So sorry if anybody got offended.
And I don't agree with the things that Bill says anymore because I'm watching it through a different lens. I actually, when I wrote to him last, said, I can relate now to Candace Owens, because before when I was, I guess, a Democrat or whatever, I'd be like, who is this chick? Why has she embraced this party? Why is she? And now there's tons of us who are, that's why there's a walkaway movement.
Yeah,
and the Democrats we can thank them for pushing us away to another way of looking at things. I did just want to go back to the vaccine hesitancy and the Ministry of Truth to just tell people that in the UK, they are working on making people who are spreading quote unquote disinformation a criminal act, that the CDC and the WHO and the HHS are all working with social media, big tech companies, so that if you go on Twitter, for instance, and you put in vaccine, whatever, a pop-up will come up directing you. The same thing if you go on YouTube, that you will see underneath the vaccine hesitancy post from Wikipedia, and that this is a concerted effort. And they've actually, I was reading a randomized trial that they conducted, spending money to show that people's can be manipulated towards immunization. The CDC is talking about identifying unvaccinated groups and how to basically bust myths. What are these myths? There's tons of science. You just have to go beyond the fairy tales of polio saved lives and smallpox and listen to the history of Edward Jenner. He was putting pus, injecting it into small boys. Two of them that he did trials on as guinea pigs died at 2021, and that this is the grandfather of vaccines.
I completely forgot about something, Maryam. Do you know about the Red Shoes, the Red Shoes Club, and then Bill Maher's, the name of Bill Maher's?
I love Kid Productions.
Kid Love Productions. I completely forgot about that guy. Yeah. So I should have brought that up. But
I want to, and I want to bring that up that just even recently, I don't know, I think it was on Rogan, where he was talking about being against that kind of treatment, and also defending, on one of his shows recently, well, he just did a whole thing on robosexuals and just the need for human connection, and that he doesn't get off on certain types of sex. So, I've heard that, and he clearly has stated that he doesn't like kids, but that doesn't mean that he's eating them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but all I know is that the research that I've seen, there's definitely some questionable things with regard to that stuff. But the Red Shoes is a very troubling thing, because when you put that together with all those people, especially Tony Podesta. So anyways, that wasn't the subject.
I've tweeted about that.
Yeah.
I've tweeted about that, and I'm just going to plug myself because I'm shadow banned on Twitter. And that is really where I guess I'm publishing information news, quote unquote, because no mainstream outlets really want my work, other than a handful of non they're not considered mainstream. And I used to write for the Hollywood Reporter, Detour, Black Book, Penthouse. I was in the mainstream, and now kind of not embraced. And also, I'd like to add that I had a journalist friend who woke up and all her articles on Vice were removed, as well as other publications, and that this is rampant, and the censorship is amplifying every single day. To have your work completely scrubbed, Vice just did a piece called Anti-Vax Fever, and so that's another story that I was covering. I was looking into this Ethan, I forget his last name, who became famous overnight from Ohio, an 18-year-old, because he defied his parents, his mother, who is an anti-vaxxer, which I am not. I'm not against vaccine theory. I'd like to say I'm pro medical freedom. Anyways, he became a poster boy overnight. Now, are you familiar with the WikiHow pamphlet that basically is encouraging children or high schoolers to lie to their parents and defy them to go get vaccinated? So this kid has become kind of the poster boy we're applauding now defiance between children and parents. Did you hear about this kid, Ethan?
I did not hear about it, no.
Yeah, so I reached out to him on Twitter asking if he would be willing to speak to a journalist, and his response was nah. And then there was other page shills that are known in our groups, because I'm part of a pro medical freedom group on Twitter, so that we can support each other against shadow bans and get the information out there. And doctors were applauding his declining, but yet he's been doing all the a lot of mainstream media and has become a sensation. This is a kid. What does he know? You're going to tell us we're quacks, but this person who's not a doctor and is a teenager is speaking against all of us anti-vaxxers, which is a smear word, is a label.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. I can't believe it. People are just absolutely insane about this stuff. I mean, like, they're trying to manipulate these children into, believing that it's some good thing to do. And, it doesn't surprise me that Vice would go ahead and wipe somebody's articles out of there. I mean, like, because I've watched Vice move further and further to the left, and they're part of that establishment now.
Yeah. They're from Montreal, which is where I hail from.
Yes. Yeah.
And started kind of guerrilla journalism, and then basically, like the rest, sold their soul and are arguably peddling propaganda.
Yeah. Yeah, they used to produce a lot of really good documentaries about, hard-hitting news. They were pretty much one of the only units that was covering what was happening in Ukraine when that whole thing was going on. I mean, like, on the ground for, hundreds of days, and then it just turned into nothing else. You guys, we are going to be talking about... we are going to be doing the call-in in the second portion of the show. Did you want to bring in our special guest before we do the call-in, or in the end of the call-in?
At the end of the call-in.
Okay, all right, no problem. I didn't know.
I want to see if anyone has questions regarding functional medicine, even defining what is functional medicine.
Let's get a definition on the board before we get people calling in and asking questions.
Okay, so I believe functional medicine is the future, but it's looking at you as an individual. So if you were to come to me, I mean, I operate as a consultant. I'm not a practitioner, and I'm going to graduate from coaching, which is different. But functional medicine is, if you came with a condition, we would look at everything, including antecedents. So creating a timeline: where you breastfed, did you grow up with antibiotics? What was the history of your parents? To really identify the root of the condition and to get an understanding. And so it's personalized to you. So I never say you need to eat meat or you need to do this, because you need to eat for your condition and for your biome. What I stress is well, I certainly don't believe in eating gluten or dairy or sugar as staples. But as far as being a vegetarian or an omnivore or whatever, it's really about eating clean, having studied the food supply for more than a decade,
Sure.
and knowing how poison it is, and remembering Hippocrates and food is thy medicine.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a very smart way to go about it. I mean, when you think about everything that we're putting into our bodies, through processed foods, through all the chemicals, through, all the manipulation, I mean, what most people eat on a daily basis is a pretty far stretch from what actual food is. So what would that look like? I mean, you have someone come in for an office visit, and then you do some type of a consultation with them.
I do consultations. It's virtual. I have a very thorough, because I'm applying my investigative skills, and I'm also someone who's reversed lupus and fibromyalgia. So I know what it's like to have chronic pain for years and years. And in reality, in my case, it was chemical body burden. We do not take into consideration the synergistic effects of these poisons in the body. We've seen with bees that if you mix a fungicide with a neonicotinoid or an herbicide, that it could become 1,000 times more toxic. And we know that there are 84,000 chemicals in our environment that are unregulated. What are they doing in conjunction? And we do not, maybe Western medicine does not take into consideration chemical body burden and detoxing. And detoxing isn't a juice fast. It's also bolstering the organs like the liver that are responsible for detoxing, and making sure over time, let's say you've had heavy metal poisoning, you want to go slow. I also consider myself a biohacker. So from a functional medicine perspective, you're also looking at mitochondrial function, ATP production, considering all the cofactors. And then once you take a look at functional medicine, you realize how myopic Western medicine is, because it's just, here's a pill, like when I was diagnosed, here's prednisone, no, and here's Cymbalta, and your body's attacking itself, and see you later.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that always gets me is that when they're taking into account the way a particular substance affects you, they're not taking into effect all that synergetic actions that might be because of multiple things that are going to be found in the environment. Like you mentioned, the mixing the fungicide with the what is it, the nicotine based
or an herbicide,
Yeah.
And then considering, it's like a common thing, like, do you eat gluten? And I can make many arguments on why gluten offers you no nutritional values and has been so hybridized that the body doesn't know what to do with it. But let's say the client or the patient will say, not really. And then you're like, yeah, but you're 45. You've been doing it over years. Do you know that the zonulin is a toxin, and that lends to a leaky gut? And then, just stressing also the gut-brain connection. And we are seeing people getting dumber by the day. There are studies that show that these toxins rob us of IQ points.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can delve into whatever else they're, fluoride or whatever to make us passive. There's a video called Vax Fund where they're talking about certain vaccines to make you docile in that intelligence fictionalized thing on Corona.
Right.
They also talk about, this is not, you can argue, I've never gone down the chemtrail rabbit hole, but you can argue that this has been happening. 5G also, add that to the mix.
This is something we talked about last night. Silent weapons for quiet wars. They're coming at us on so many different fronts.
Yes.
And basically each one of those things is its own weapon that's coming to harm us at some level in our psyche or in our mind, on our body, our spirit. In so many different ways, and it's very difficult when you've got a multi-pronged attack coming like that and you don't even know what's going on.
It's
people
a perfect storm.
Yes, exactly. And now people are starting to wake up and starting to realize all this stuff. I mean, this is the great part about what's happening in our world right now is people are able to talk about these things. Even though the censorship is ramped up and more than at any other time in our history, we've also got people talking about it more and more.
There's a great
awakening.
Yeah. There's a tipping point of truth, and we can thank social media for that. I mean, I love Twitter. I really wish I wasn't shadow banned, and I really wish they weren't messing with their algorithms on a constant basis and attacking people, because it's such a powerful tool. And like I've said before, social media has allowed us to see the disparity between what's happening in the MSM, and Mike Cernovich talks about that in his documentary Hoaxed, which I highly recommend.
I have not seen it. I've heard a lot about it, but one sec. I'm going to drop your Twitter handle into the chat because I saw some people asking about it.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I would like to share the parody of Dr. Nicole Baldwin's video. The video I did, if that's possible.
Yes. Let's see. How far down your Twitter thread is it?
I have to look for it because Rob Dew retweeted it, and I think that might be the best way to pull it up. If that's okay, I'm gonna try to look for it. Twitter doesn't have the best search.
No, they don't.
I mean, they have the advanced search, but that also is spotty.
It's extremely spotty. Let's see. All right, you guys. What I'm gonna do is drop the link for the call and the meeting ID into the chat, and then we can go ahead and get a couple of people on the line while we're waiting for Maryam to pull that up. Tanette Booth says non-gluten diet can help ADHD. Thank you very much. And let's see.
Gluten is highly suspect, and then there's the glyphosate as well. I can go on for a long time about that.
Okay, Dana Finkler replied to me and he said, no, you said you were going to do one, bud. Okay, yes, you're right. I didn't know for certain what you meant. Hey Jude said, POTUS tweet 2/13/20 at 8 a.m. misspelled Devin Nunes as DEVEN extra E. Okay, so there you go. That might line up with that toll. Brian Beller, thank you for the super chat. Brian Foltz, as a young man, I was taught to always have at least 2 suppliers for many reasons. There you go. Yes, that is a good idea, Brian. Chris Hawkins says, Gitmo prisoner attire clown outfits, menu oranges and peaches. Yes. And then Tanette Booth, non-gluten diet. Okay, great. All right. Hey, Baby Yoda, I see you are in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. All right, so there is the Zoom link with the meeting ID and the telephone number, and the information to call should now be up on the screen. So you're going to dial one of those numbers, enter that meeting ID, and then you guys can ask questions, health-related questions. We can talk about the Bill Maher stuff. Again, sorry, I did not remember that. You guys, if it's not on the menu for the show, then, it might not be first and foremost in my mind, so I do apologize. I hope that I didn't give anybody the wrong impression there. But, Maryam, we do have a couple of callers who have already called in.
That's awesome.
Looks like, my good friend Tony is on the line. And Tony, we just need you to unmute your microphone and then make sure the stream is muted in the background, and we can get your question. Let's say, Z Quantum Leap says, please ask, what does she think about pain meds? I think I already know the answer to the question, but what is your opinion on pain meds there, Maryam?
Okay, well, I would like to say that I got hit by a car and dragged 50 feet across the cement. When I was in the hospital, asked to be taken off morphine. I did not take any pain meds. I believe that I have a high threshold. With that said, what pain meds are we talking about? Are we talking about opiates? Are we talking about Tylenol? I do think there is a role for Western medicine, and that if you know that it's a Band-Aid, that I'm not going to crap on it, but that that it's a Band-Aid. And I've certainly taken Western medicine medications. I've still been healing from mold illness, and I had hellish sleep, and turned to a pain, a medicine. So, but I do believe that we have to be in touch with the pain, to come in touch with the pain and see what the lesson is, if that makes sense. If they're addictive like opiates, no, I don't recommend them.
Yeah, I mean, I personally am not a fan of pain medication, opiate pain medication. I think that for some things, people, they need them for therapeutic value. I think that overall, they're dangerous, and we have an epidemic of their use here in America and across the globe. So, and then somebody asked, actually, what do you think about kratom? Because I know a lot of people who use kratom rather than using opiate pain medications. Oh, you're on mute, Maryam. I gotcha. You're still muted. There we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Someone asked, I think last time about kratom, that I've heard great things. I've just dabbled in it, so I can't attest to the impact. I mean, I've microdosed other plant medicines like mescaline in small doses. I don't know if you could say that.
Well, we already did. So.
Okay, sorry.
We're already demonetized, so not to worry about it. We need to be honest. Tony, are you there? Did we get your microphone turned on?
I am, and I just realized how dark it is in my house.
Hey, it's no problem.
Not working. Okay. Oh wow.
Oh,
I have a virtual background.
Yeah, virtual background is showing up on your face. Yeah.
Oh, isn't that fun? Okay, we turn that off. Okay, there we go.
Excellent.
Well, I just wanted to let you know, Maryam, I just subscribed to your channel.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think everybody should subscribe to your channel. And there's one thing that I that you've talked about, and I remember you calling in probably the first time that you did to this show, and you talked about bees. And I was like, I've always meant to go back to that. So I'm going to go back and dig. So I really appreciate what you do. I'm all about functional wellness, and I have been for years. And Red Pill, I just want to say thank you for always having great guests on this show. And I think everybody should go subscribe to her channel, start listening to her. No, this woman she's so refreshing. You are in that video.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I wish I wanted to show you the other one.
You're very, very talented. So I'd love to see that, but I'm not on Twitter, and oh my gosh, I might need to. Red Pill, I did start my YouTube channel.
Oh, cool.
So I might have to get on that. So anyway, we can talk about that later. You know how to reach out to me, but I'll yield back the time. I just wanted to say hello. I haven't missed anything. I've been traveling and on the road, so I'm listening to you, but I can't chat. I can't
good to know you've been here still.
So no, you've got me for life. So all right. Maryam, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
All right, Tony, have a great night.
Bye-bye.
And you can watch the film Vanishing of the Bees on Amazon Prime, on Hulu, on iTunes. That's my documentary. It is 10 years old, but people still don't know why the bees are disappearing.
Okay, say where we can find that again, please.
Hulu, Amazon Prime, and iTunes. Yeah.
Okay, Vanishing of the Bees. Okay. Thank you so
sweet.
Much.
We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. I'm putting this in the chat.
Awesome.
Our Pete, can you tell me if this will pull up the little video, the parody from?
You know what? Yeah. Oh, that chat. Yes, I can pull it up. From there.
Okay,
all right.
Let's see if
we'll see you, Tony.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye. All right, Brian Foltz, he says, your phone line keeps hanging up on me. No, you are waiting in the waiting room. I mean, I don't know why it should be hanging up on you, but everybody should wait in the waiting room until I bring you in. Let me get that pulled up here real quick, and then we'll pull up our next caller. Oops.
I hope it works. I really hope it works.
Here, let's see. No, this is just messages. Why did that? Messages, media, copy.
Okay, let me try again another link.
No, yeah, now it's only your Twitter page. I don't know what the deal is with that.
Okay.
All right, so we'll try to pull up the next caller here. Let's see. And I do have a couple of thank yous I need to say to the audience. Let's see. Oh yeah, we asked how you feel about cranium. Sunshine again won. Thank you. Crunch and Munch says great show. Keep up the awesome work. Thank you very much, Crunch and Munch. Kimberly Bogan says RP78. Can you ask Maryam about her opinion on Suboxone for heroin addicts? I have my own opinion about that, but if you have any opinion, then you can go ahead and answer that.
I don't know about Suboxone. I know about naltrexone and LDN.
Now, naltrexone is one of the ingredients in Suboxone, and then bupropion, I believe, is the other ingredient in Suboxone. From what I understand, Suboxone can be very helpful in getting people off of heroin, but it also, has its own very addictive properties. So,
like methadone, right?
Yeah. I mean, people, you have to be careful. I mean, if you're picking up one thing for another, I mean, it can be very dangerous. Gypsy Nurse Kathy. So there you go. For some people, they take it for it's long acting, so rather than having to have somebody with chronic pain or, some type of ailment where you have to take a pill every 2 to 4 hours, people can take Suboxone and then it lasts like 12 hours. But Neo, are you there?
I am here. How are you guys?
I'm excellent. How about yourself?
Good. Thanks. Well, interestingly, I had like a million different things to talk about, but let's talk about kratom and Suboxone.
Okay.
So, I had a really long pills, and then I got onto Suboxone. I was on it for about 2 years. And it was amazing as far as getting off of the opiates, only because how it works is it basically fills those part of your brain that's looking for the opiate.
The receptors.
All your receptors, it turns those on, but you don't get high from it, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can do is it helps you get out of the lifestyle of using, whereas you're not seeking and you're not going through withdrawals. You're still shutting that thing up,
Mm-hmm.
So that was great. Getting off the Suboxone, though, was a whole other beast.
Yeah.
I actually had to check in for that. I did a research project. It was completely a God thing. I ended up getting paid in a research project to get off Suboxone. I couldn't. It literally was all God. Anyway,
did you do like a 30-day program, or was it shorter, longer?
It was actually only a week. It was a week program.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so yeah, they kind of taper you down and give you stuff to ease your withdrawal symptoms. But
good.
Yeah, so there's that. But I also take Adderall, which I've been trying to get off of myself.
I can say something about Adderall.
Yeah, kratom's helped me taper that down, actually. So, but go ahead. What did you want to say?
Well, I because of the mold illness that it impacted my cognitive skills, and that I microdose Adderall at times to help me with focus. I think that in large amounts it makes people really aggro, and but I have microdosed it, and it has helped definitely with focus and concentration. Yeah,
it does. It almost is. It's a hyper thing, though. It feels like I have a superpower. Like I can do a million things at once, but without it, I can't do anything. So don't suggest it for anybody, even in a micro. Any kind of chemical you're putting into your body that you become dependent on is not good. There's medications that you can take that can help get you through situations, help you heal, get better, but it should only be for a time period.
And also nootropics. There's no shortage of nootropics for brain cognitives, like lion's mane, and to also just acknowledge that every brain's chemistry is different. So one nootropic might be great for you. Like I use HTTP and I use theanine. I've been using theanine for years. It's from green tea extract. It helps get into beta. It's calming. There's definitely nootropic stacks out there. We offer them on Honey Colony, but just like RP said, I invite people to question everything and to really be in touch with your own body. Not every person is everyone's different, and that's why going back to vaccines, it's crazy to mandate for adults when people are immunocompromised.
Right.
I did find the link, by the way.
Oh, good. Okay, you send it over in the chat?
I did. It's
Yeah.
the second link, and I think people will appreciate it.
Yeah. You know, I have ADD pretty bad,
Yeah.
and they wanted me to take Adderall or Ritalin was the big one when I was a kid, and I declined to do that. But you know, I mean, there have definitely been times where I thought, you know, maybe I could have benefited from having that. But then I think about people that I know who are prescribed Adderall and who have, you know, said the same thing as Neo here, that, you know, if they don't take it, then they, you know, can't get out of bed. You know, you're very sluggish. You know, it's difficult to be motivated to do anything. And, you know, I've said before, you know, I have been, you know, clean from drugs and alcohol of any type for the last 2 years. And I didn't think that was possible before, you know. I mean, you know, having a beer with lunch, that was totally normal for me at a certain point, you know. Or you know, I mean, just you know, feeling that I had to take something from outside of myself in order to motivate me to do anything. And you know, it was only by, you know, I mean, making that conscious decision to go ahead and, you know, just stop altogether, you know. I mean, it was like, you know, one day I was here and the next day I decided to live a different way. But I mean, there was definitely an adjustment period. And, you know, I mean, once I got past that, you know, I mean, I felt much, much better. And I realized that it is possible, you know, but the thing is, most people, I think, are afraid to, you know, have to go through that period of uncomfortableness, and to take the time off of work and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to say that when it comes to functional medicine coaching, because as a consultant, I operate more as an authority, but coaching is steeped in positive psychology, and it's all about being an ally for exactly that, to be able to replace and make the lasting changes, because a lot of them it's habitual, right? And especially let's say even alcohol. I mean, I don't drink alcohol. It's sugar and it's aging. And when someone's like, you're 47 and you've been hit by a car and you've reversed lupus and you've dealt with mold illness, well, I want to be an influencer that walks their talk. And I sure know a lot of health influencers don't look that healthy. And I believe, having been told that my body's attacking itself, that, and I've mentioned this before, we're running on our subconscious. So even just deleting those limiting thoughts, and if we're on a path of awakening, really it's all about deleting these self-limiting programs that we were imprinted with. That's a big part of it, our belief system. So I want to believe that I'm like, even though I don't drink wine, that I'm aging like wine. And when I hear my friends in Canada say, well, you know, I'm achy because it's my age. No, that's BS. That's a program you're running. And we can live a long time by optimizing our biology, which is what biohacking is all about. And it starts, in my opinion, with food. It's the easiest thing that we can do, and yet it's the hardest thing to adjust.
It's very true. Very true.
Amen, sister. Good stuff.
Neo, thank you so much for your call, my friend. We've got 13 people waiting, so we're going to move on to the next caller.
Sounds good. You guys have a good night.
Yep, you too. Thanks again. Appreciate it. All right, awesome. Another great caller. Let's go ahead and see who's next. We've got Andrew Tagliarino. I hope I said that right, Andrew. Are you there, buddy? Andrew, looks like your microphone's on. Are you there?
Oh.
No? Andrew's not there?
I'm pretty sure. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Andrew. Yep. What's up, man? What's on your mind?
I'm supposed to be... I didn't... Because I was on hold like that. I usually come in as Phenomenon.
That's right. Yes. Good to see you.
Hang on. Let me mute the YouTube.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I was originally calling in I don't know why the sound is so low. This is crazy. I was originally calling in just to talk about some current events and a couple of things. She is dead on point. This woman is, I've heard her before.
Thank you.
A lot of these, I know people that have changed their diets and avoided having to take insulin. I know people that have changed their diets and become cancer-free.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Out there. It really is good stuff. It's I think you said something earlier that really struck me and I can't remember, but I mean she's given great information in my opinion.
Thank you.
it's not, you know, nobody's allowed to give medical advice per se,
Right.
but this is eat good stuff. You know, your diet is everything. It's what we put into our body. There's an old cliche about what you are, what you eat.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
It is. That's why cliches are cliches.
I think it's also part of the awakening that I say, you know, like Zak is on his own health journey where he's realizing he can't eat certain things that he used to eat. And the more sensitive you become, the more sensitive you become, unfortunately. And I say ironically that I'm like an environmental indicator like the bees, because I have multiple chemical sensitivities. I can walk into a room and be like, oh, there's a gas leak. What? Because people experience nose blindness. So I can sense things that the average person cannot. It doesn't make me a freak. It makes me have superpowers, in my opinion.
You're the canary in
And
the
that's
coal
what
mine. I have friends
absolutely.
like
I say bees because I'm a bee lady, but definitely a canary in the coal mine on the front lines, telling people what's happening, what's to come. And food is so super important. And people need to read the ingredients, the inactive ingredients, because they put a lot of fillers. To also realize there's an attack on compounded pharmacies where, for instance, they're trying to
what
make...
a great point. I don't think you discussed. I didn't hear you talk about that before. Yeah, it's a great point.
They're trying to, like, for instance, trying to patent things like curcumin. They're trying to make IVs that have become very popular in Los Angeles, for instance, and are great, like a glutathione IV, which has helped me wonders. High doses of vitamin C. They want to make it illegal. There's an article on Honey Colony. I like to say that Honey Colony was ahead of its time. We have a lot of articles that are pertinent now because we were in the future. Because functional medicine is the future.
Yeah, and if you don't mind me jumping,
yeah, go ahead.
Local honey. If you've got allergies, if you got any issues with stuff, local honey. Will just totally.
And local bee pollen will help you with your allergies. And we also have to be careful of the source. No one likes to talk about the pesticides in the honey, but they are in the honey. They found that 1 grain of pollen has had up to 11 different herbicides, fungicides, neonicotinoids in 1 grain.
I have friends that raise bees here in Florida. That they have their own, bee colonies. Wow, I can imagine some of the big commercial ones probably do have issues with that.
Absolutely. David Hackenberg and Dave Mendes, who are the Davids in Goliath in Vanishing of the Bees, are both from, they both beekeep in Florida, and you can check out the film. Usually docs have a short shelf life, but I say that my film's still alive because the bees are still dying.
Well, I'm in Florida, so I'm very familiar with that.
Well, Phenomenon, thank you for your call, buddy.
Well, can I just say something real quick?
Sure.
Everybody out there, nobody is any more than 90. Q tells us we're all, you're doing a great job. You're getting the word out there. But there is nobody in this chat. There is nobody here that is not below or above anybody else.
No.
I've had meetings here in Florida. I've created one, and I helped with another. You got to get locally, the local honey, work locally, and it'll go viral.
Go to your farmers markets to get food. Definitely. We need community, right? More than ever, especially when we realize that we are being used as pawns in a divide and conquer strategy. Don't fall prey. Regain your sovereignty, question everything, and be an individual.
Yep, that's exactly where. Yep. All right, cool. Thank you. You finished my thought better than I possibly could.
All right, Phenomenon. Talk to you soon, bud.
All right, thanks.
Thanks for your call. All right, moving on to the next caller. It's Dana Finkler. Never a dull moment. Dana, got to get your microphone working. Let's see. Brian Foltz. Okay, thank you, Brian. Dana, are you there, buddy?
Gotcha.
Oh, mute the stream in the background.
Stream, yep. Gotcha.
Okay. What's on your mind, bud?
Hey, the Pace Sewer family, man. I I can't wait for that podcast when you come out with that.
I have to put it together.
Yeah. Did you get back? Did they get back to you at all?
Who?
You said someone's going to email you about that.
I think I said somebody's emailing me about Antarctica, but I haven't had time to check my email for the last couple of days. But that was the only one that I knew.
All right. Well, looking forward to the Antarctica and Pacer family. But hey, I want to ask your guests. I literally was put on psychotropic drugs. Went through a really experience in my life. My mom thought I was bipolar and put me on a bunch of drugs. It really fucked me up. I was put on Invega, Seroquel.
Wow.
Seroquel is supposed to make you sleep. I didn't sleep for 3 fucking days. Sorry, I'm sorry for the language, but
thank you.
It was the most intense experience in my entire life.
Well,
after being on that, is there a way? Am I going to be affected from this?
Well, let's say, are you addressing me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say I was working with you. I would do thorough intake, and I'm a big proponent of tests, not the Western medicine tests, but looking at organic acids, looking at your neurotransmitters, in your case, looking at your hormones, instead of just throwing spaghetti on the wall and hoping it sticks, so that we have a sense of what are your dopamine levels right now? What are your serotonin levels right now? Let's work with something. So I sell the Dutch test, and it's an excellent dry urine test that looks at metabolites and metabolomics, which I have a certificate in, is looking at the 5,000 metabolites that work in conjunction to create, there's all these cofactors, right? To create serotonin, you need melatonin. So it's very intricate. So there is you can take ecstasy for instance, and it'll mess up serotonin levels. There's been studies for an entire year. So yes, you can heal. I believe so. We need to just sit down and take a look at what your tests, your levels are, so that we know what we're working with. And food also helps. You can be nutrient deficient in, let's say, methylation and B12s is huge. People don't know enough about the importance of methylations or undermethylating and its impact on our brains. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I was just a little worried after everything I went through, and I was just kind of curious.
It's do you eat sugar? That's a big thing. Sugar messes up with moods, right? I practice a ketogenic diet where I'm personally burning ketones. If you see a before and after of me, because I grew up chubby, I'm way better in shape now at 47 than I was at 26. So I would look at your diet, and I always make little improvements, okay, I drink coffee. Well, are you drinking organic coffee? Because coffee is one of the most sprayed crops. Would you be interested in bulletproofing your coffee, adding butter, which is a short chain fatty acid that can help with the jitters, that can help with brain cognition? So there's all these little hacks that we can do. And the first important thing is to be committed and willing to make those changes, or else you're just wasting time.
Exactly. All right. I appreciate your insight.
Thank you.
All right, Dana. Thanks for your call, brother.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
See you, man.
Peace. All right, sweet. Thank you for the call, Dana. Good to hear from you. Chris Huggins said, my wife is a holistic nutritionist, and we've been swapping out food for years. The trick is to gradually improve your diet. Always new improvements. Now the squirts are few and far between. Yes. Changing your diet drastically will inevitably lead to some type of shock to your system. So if you can just do it just a little bit slowly, then your body will acclimate to it a lot more. When I went on keto, for the first 3 days, I felt like I got hit by a truck.
The flu. It's the keto flu.
Yeah, and I just like, I could never. At the first couple days, I couldn't eat enough, and then after that, it was like my hunger went away totally, and I was perfectly satiated with everything that I was eating as part of the diet. Social Observer says, don't buy food from big corporations. Avoid big organics, which are companies brought up by General Mills, Nestle, and Boycott app helps by scanning barcodes. Okay, BUICOTT. All right, sweet. All right, so next caller is my good friend and fellow YouTuber, Aaron. What's up, Aaron? How are you, brother?
Hi, Aaron.
Great. Hello. How are you?
Hello, I'm well. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm very impressed with you.
Thank you.
Have you ever heard of psionics?
No, I don't believe so.
That's where, like, if part of your body hurts or there's a part of your body that's ailing, like your elbow hurts, your arm hurts.
Yeah.
Fix yourself, arm. Fix yourself, and you say it with emotion, and that helps your body. There's certain acoustic receptors in every part of your body that you can actually heal yourself through your voice.
I believe it, and that feeds into epigenetics, which is so underestimated and has such a huge impact. I mean, we put so much credence on the brain, but the resonance of the heart is greater than the brain, and who we surround ourselves with and our environment. I mean, I know I'm jumping a little, but I lived across the street from a 5G pole. I posted on Nextdoor. I was called a tinfoil hat wearer. But then I found out that the main side effects are depression, anxiety, and paranoia, I think. Anyway, not good things. And just a little tidbit that there's a functional medicine doctor, Klinghart, who did a study because mycotoxins mold spores. The mycotoxins are more dangerous dead than the actual spores, and they give off mycotoxins when they're threatened. Well, there was a study with two petri dishes. One was surrounded by a Faraday cage. The other one, in proximity of EMFs, showed a 600% increase in the amount of mycotoxins that are released, and also just to consider that there's 100,000 different types of mold spores. Anyway, so epigenetics, I do definitely agree. Speaking to your body, speaking love makes a difference. Your mind has a big role in things. Everything's connected.
Absolutely. Aaron, any more thoughts before we move on to the next caller?
Another thing that I heard was very interesting, and I'm dying to try it myself, and I find out what kind of crystals to use, is to grow plants in crushed rocks and crystals with running water. It's supposed to
structured water.
Like the Bosnian pyramids, they had there was like a chamber with some type of quartz. It was like manufactured quartz, concrete almost, and it had running water underneath it, and it would release positive or negative ions. I don't know what it was, but it was like a healing chamber inside the Bosnian pyramid.
I just purchased a blanket, which I'm thinking, well, I will sell it. That's meshed with all crystals, so it's a cloth. And again, let's say someone like Zak would say that it's pseudoscience, but I've experimented on some friends, and they feel very comforted by the crystal blanket. So I'm like Linus now, walking.
We know that quartz has piezoelectric properties, so I mean, just because we don't understand it doesn't mean that it's pseudoscience. Zach Voorhees.
I agree.
All right. Well, Aaron, thank you very much for your call, buddy.
I want to, yes.
The package
Go ahead.
is way red.
Oh, sweet. Okay, I'll be looking for it. I'll show it on the air.
Is it possible to show, before we bring on our special guest, to show the commercial?
We'll see, Aaron. Yeah, we'll show it. See you, buddy.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so when you send it again, it just pulled up your Twitter profile. It didn't pull up the actual video. How far back is it? How many days?
That's weird, because when I do it, this second link, it
Oh,
does
Dues
work.
News. Okay, so wait,
Yeah,
hold
yeah.
on. Maybe I just copied the wrong one.
This one works.
Let me see. Let's try this again. Okay, it's not copying it for some reason. Let me try one more time.
It's the one that ends with 20?
I've got it. Okay, hold on. We're going to go over to that. Let's go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, here we go, guys.
Who received a flood of threats over
Wait, is there a copywritten song in this video? Like the song that's playing in the background? What is it, like a popular song? You're muted again. You're muted again.
It's Cupid Shuffle, so it's been shown all over without issue. If you want to play it mute, you can.
Because okay, so it's the
that's
song
fine.
from TikTok. It's this. Okay, that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, they'll shut the video down if I play it on the air. But
the
yes.
the beginning is not the song, so you can mute it when she starts. You'll see her. Is that cool?
Yeah, I've got it playing right now. So.
Oh, I don't see it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, there's a slight delay between.
Yeah.
Watching it. Okay, so this is who is this the woman who was in the video?
Yeah, it starts with the CBC because they made it viral and she got 2 million views.
Yep.
So you'll see. I mean, if there's no sound, it's fine. You could still get the gist of it. So she's saying here that all the this is what everything that vaccine helps prevent. Yeah.
And then you come in with the actual ingredients in vaccines. Pig's blood. Oh my goodness. Very true. Very, very true.
Yeah, so that's it.
That's cool. Well, here I'll drop the link to it in the chat box.
But I'd like to say that on March 5th, TikTok takes money from Merck and Sanofi, and there is a huge campaign, hashtag Doctors Speak Up on March 5th. So arguably, big pharmaceuticals have hired a whole bunch of doctors, quote unquote, and they're going to be attacking us on March 5th and combating people that believe in medical freedom. So this is my way of F you.
Sure. I think it's also worth noting that TikTok is a Chinese company.
Yes,
and everyone who has a TikTok account is giving their information to the Chinese government. Carl, what's up, my friend?
Hey, guys.
Hi,
Glad
Carl.
to have you here. What's going on? What's on your mind, bud?
Hi, Maryam. Hi, Red Pill.
Hi, Carl.
Well, talking about all this health stuff was, I spent a lot of time in the Middle East, 16 years in the military. And when I got out, or towards the last years of my service, my health just started deteriorating fast.
Mm-hmm.
And, so over a decade, I, kept going to the VA, doctor after doctor after doctor. I moved to 5 different states, new doctors constantly. No one figured out what was wrong with me.
Were you vaccine injured?
I had more vaccines than probably 90% of the people on the planet.
Wow.
Well, let's just state that if you're in the military, you have no choice. Let's just tell that to people.
Yeah.
That it's mandated.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, finally I got my VA doctor to say, look, I have no interest in curing you or healing you. I'm just here to cover your symptoms. And so I said, okay, fine. I'm never going to see you again because you're just hurting me. And, 10 years of neurotransmitter blockers and every drug. I was taking fistfuls of medication, including double Vicodin, which is Norco.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which oddly enough was the only pill that I ever felt better on. It had a mild euphoric effect to it.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, all the crap that I was taking, it just complicated everything. And it wasn't until I came across a decent chiropractor. He says, you know what? You might have a gluten issue. You might
and then
allergic.
leaky gut, obviously.
Oh man, everything. So once I got on to the healthier side of things, trying to figure out okay, if I cut gluten out of my diet, which I did, I lost 25 pounds in 6 weeks.
Great.
Nice.
Just lost a lot of weight. I felt a lot better. But of course, I've got a lot of injuries, pain levels through the roof, constantly in pain. So getting off the pain meds wasn't easy, but not that hard either.
Did you try CBD?
Oh, I used to grow in California. I had beautiful plants, and I learned all about the medicinal side of things. I learned that I made a butter, the can of butter itself heals the skin, hair, everything. I had a guy that was in a horrible motorcycle accident, and he caught third-degree burns all up and down his arm. And after the doctors did what they could, and the horrible, painful experience, he used the can of butter on his arm, and it removed all the scar tissue, and his arm looks like it was never injured.
Nice, beautiful. Yes.
And I wanted to show you guys my puppies, but they're all sleeping. If I had,
well, we see them.
Yeah,
we
I can
see the puppies.
I can see the top of one.
Wrong kind of bag. Hey. Hey, hello. Say hi, everybody. All right.
Hey,
anyway,
look at that.
So without doctors, I've had to figure out what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
I've just
become your own best health advocate. That's what I'm all about.
Hello, monkey. So it turns out that I'm overtoxed. I have too many toxins in my systems.
Yeah.
My biggest issue is depression, and I smoke.
May I give you a suggestion?
Sure.
Would you be open to looking at coffee enemas? Did I bring this up last time? You know
did.
that's my.
I know that's your
looked
thing.
into it. I thought about it.
It's my most viewed YouTube. It has 27,000 views, which is.
Coffee goes in one direction.
Yeah,
I don't know about the other.
It saved me from chemical body burden, and it's great for the liver. And I know that people have issues with their rectum.
Oh man, I don't drink alcohol. Never have. Cirrhosis of the liver.
So you need help with your liver. You need help with the liver
digestion. I want to do a cleanse, but like I said, I'm a smoker, and the depression.
Okay, well, we can even do an upgrade for that, because I'm all about, like RP said, making little changes. Really, you can make an argument. Well, nicotine is a nootropic. Mm-hmm. The smoking part is no good, but if you were to just even switch to
vaping,
organic tobacco, because it's the crap that's in the cigarettes, the asbestos. Do you know that they put sugar in cigarettes? Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Hey, I switched. I got off of sugar, and I only have honey in my coffee, so no cream.
I'm just saying we can fix your gut, and it's going to take some time. But if you definitely need to help with your liver, and do a cleanse. Take like things like milk thistle, NAC. I mean, everybody look into NAC, because that's like something that definitely people should be taking.
Yeah, what is that?
It's I'm not going to be able to pronounce it, but it's it helps with homocysteine levels. It helps with your liver. It helps with methionine. It helps with homocysteine levels, which gets to be high. So NAC, and I'm looking to pronounce.
Can you hold the bottle up to the?
Oh yeah. And this is not necessarily the best.
Okay, just NAC
brand, but I wanted to take it and look. You can easily do a non-Google search, using Swiss Cows or Quant. I think our special guest is asking about when we're going to be calling him.
I actually just sent him the link to get in here.
Okay.
Well, listen, Carl, I hate to cut you short, buddy, but we've got 9 people waiting. We got 9 people waiting. Thanks for calling, though. Don't forget.
Thank you, Carl.
Don't forget about Roseanne tomorrow.
You can contact me for more info if you'd like.
I'm going to call in tomorrow for Roseanne.
Okay.
Sorry.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, brother.
Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank
love
you.
Your advice. I will take up. I will reconsider the enema.
All right.
Everybody wants to play with that. I don't know why.
We'll talk to you
Yeah.
soon, Carl. See you, buddy.
Oh, shout out to Baby Yoda. Love you, brother.
That's right. Good stuff. All right. Let's see. Is our special guest in the Nateris, right?
No, not quite yet. Almost.
Are you sure? I thought that. All right. Well, we're gonna go to Richard then. And Richard, we've got no microphone yet, but gonna give you a moment to get that turned on. We've got no image either. Hopefully, Richard's in here. Kate Awakening said that NAC changed her life.
Yeah. I'm putting a link here
Okay.
in the chat, RP.
Okay. All right. Richard, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. What's going on? What's on your mind?
Not much. I just wanted, you were talking about how gluten and like the toxins in a regular American diet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I am 14 and I started virtually an all animal-based diet.
Oh, a carnivore diet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I used to throw up every morning from IBD. I would just have a buildup of stomach acid, and in the morning I just couldn't keep it down. So that would just ruin my morning. My teeth were getting destroyed because of all the stomach acid. But within 3 days of doing the carnivore diet, I haven't thrown up since. And this was going on for 2 years. I maybe had a couple days that I didn't throw up in the morning, but every single morning I was getting sick. And right when I start this diet, I haven't gotten sick since. So that's just really amazing.
Yeah,
So-
that's great that you discovered. Did you discover it through Michaela? How did you come across the carnivore diet?
I discovered it from YouTube, not Michaela. I don't know if I should say their names because they're pretty controversial.
Oh, okay.
But
The world we
so-
live in.
Yeah, and I've been interested in this Q stuff for a long time, and it's just funny how this is overlapping with like health and Q.
I think it's natural. Richard, can I ask you a question, bud? How long have you been watching the program for?
About 6 months.
Well, that's awesome, dude. I don't often think about the ages of the people watching the show, but it's good to see that you're interested in learning the truth about what's going on at such a young age. So, thank you for calling, and you're the one who mentioned the carnivore diet in the chat the other day too, right?
Yes, I was.
Okay, sweet. I saw a video of somebody else that had started it, and they said that they had tremendous results. You know, when I did the keto diet, I mean, obviously, a large portion of your caloric intake is going to end up being animal protein. At least it was in my case. Just because I like to eat whole foods, I don't want to eat too many processed foods, and it's a lot easier when you're doing a restricted diet like that. But I think I will give the carnivore diet a try. I mean, can you tell me, like, what are you eating? Because I thought about it, and I was like, steaks. Chicken breasts, bacon, I mean, what are you eating if you're doing the carnivore diet?
Well, like I said, I'm 14, so I'm growing and I need to try to get all of my nutrients. So I've been getting eggs, beef, and liver from my uncle who grows it all himself.
Oh, cool.
Because,
That's great.
yeah, when you do the carnivore diet, you can't just get crappy meat and expect good results. So I've been eating like 6 eggs a day. Chickens forage from themselves, so there's no grains in their diet.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
And I have been forcing myself to eat like 100 grams of raw liver every day.
Ooh, raw. Organ meat's important, man. I don't know I could stomach raw liver, though. I mean, I guess, if it's all you're eating, then, you probably have a different opinion of it. Maryam, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that, one, anytime you make an adjustment to a diet, you will see some benefits. And because you are young,
to understand like the reason why it was so successful, let's say for Jordan Peterson and Michaela, is because in reality they were highly allergic to lectins, grains, and so maybe down the road you want to take some tests to just make sure that you have all the nutrients. And from a functional medicine point of view, when we're working with someone who has a diet, we do the elimination diet, which is remove everything and then slowly reintroduce, because there are benefits, let's say, from taking chlorophyll. Let's say it's from chlorella. Jordan Peterson is very strict in that it's only meat, salt, water. They've tried in their cases to diverge and add a few things. So just to really understand why is it, are you making too much acid in your stomach? What's really the root? Just invite you to maybe down the road take some tests to find out. I'm also going to drop a story on the carnivore diet from a functional medicine point of view that really breaks it down, because it's not for everyone, but many have had tremendous impact. Like Jordan Peterson, within a week, his depression lifted, skin issues lifted, sleep apnea, snoring, and you could see visibly that he was glowing.
And this is since he had gone off of his Ativan. Is this very recently that he changed?
No,
I'm
talking. I'm talking pre-Ativan.
Pre-Ativan. Okay. All right.
Before his wife got cancer, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been following what he's been doing now. But that's an example of Ativan, like taking it for a certain amount of time and then.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Changes your brain chemistry.
Pretty.
It's not good.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not good.
Richard, I want to say thank you very much for listening to the show, buddy, and I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you're participating. And keep us up to date on what's going on with the carnivore diet.
Yeah, can I say one more quick thing?
Sure.
So liver doesn't taste good. I have to force myself to swallow it like a pill.
Okay.
And also, I have grown 2 inches since I've started this diet, and I didn't know that was even possible.
Really?
To grow 2 inches in a month.
Oh, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah,
wow.
Before that, I hadn't grown that much in about a year, so.
Wow. Well, good for you, dude. Keep it up.
All right, see ya. Thanks for having me.
Hey,
Thank
brother.
you.
No, glad you're here. Peace. All right. Awesome caller. Okay, and apparently you guys are all filled in now on who the super special secret guest is. It's none other than Google whistleblower Zak Voorhees. What's up, Zak?
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah.
Your name. Almost said your name.
What's
up, Red Pill?
I have your mic is very low. I don't know that it's coming through. Hold on. Let me see. Let me try and no, yeah, it's not coming through. I don't know what the deal is. It's very, very quiet. But good stuff. Yeah. Glad to have you here, buddy.
Hold on.
I just
Does that work now?
I put in the link. Yeah, we can hear you.
Put in the link. Let me go ahead.
I put in the link about the carnivore diet.
Okay, got it. Okay, you guys, if you're interested in the carnivore diet that Richard was talking about, going to go ahead and put that in there. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that anybody, under the age of 35 was listening to my show. So that's pretty sweet that we've got people of all ages. Good stuff. So Zak, what have you been up to, buddy? I know that you and Maryam have been working on a couple of projects together.
Did she tell you all the projects that we're working on?
Yes. Now I am
not all of them. Not all
of them, but we're getting an echo now when you're talking.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, there we go.
Maryam, can you turn it down when you're not talking?
There you go. That's why.
Because we're literally in the same room right now. I think that took care of it.
Yeah, that's it.
So did Maryam tell you, let the cat out of the bag of what we're working on?
She did. We talked about some stuff, so why don't you just surprise us? What's up?
Oh, I don't know, because I'm still keeping the cat in the bag. I just if it's been let out or not.
She hasn't said anything on the air yet, so.
Meow.
Yeah.
Well, I just launched ZakVoorhees.com, which centralizes all the evidence of Google's wrongdoing so that the 51 state attorney generals. Maryam, turn your thing off again. Okay. Which centralizes all the information for the 51 state attorney generals that are doing the antitrust probe against Google. So for all you out there listening to the show, you could type in ZakVorhies.com, ZakVorhies, and sort of get a download, literally, of all of the Google documents that I've disclosed to the public.
And have you been in contact with any states' attorneys generals? Can you say if you have had any direct contact, or you've been working on this outside of as an activist?
We've been playing phone tag, believe it or not.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, but no direct contact at this point with them.
All right.
But
I'm gonna actually pull that website up and then drop the link into the chat for everybody. All right. So, Maryam, do you want to comment on any of the projects that you and Zak are working on? And then Zak will mute.
No.
We're going to play coy. Okay. All right. That's good. Okay. I've got the website pulled up and we'll show it off. All right. Good stuff. Well, listen, in the meantime, then, if we're
I'll
not going
say we're collaborating, and that's very exciting to me to collaborate.
There's going to be something really major that's coming down the pipeline that we're working on. One of the people that we're working with is already kind of talking about it. But the thing is that I'm more monitored than that person is. So I'm kind of keeping the lid on it until we have something to really present to the public. And then we're going to go. So, stay tuned, because it's going to be really big. And we think that's going to make a really big impact for 2020, especially the election.
All right. So safe to say people can keep an eye on your website as well as your Twitter feed, and they can get this information as soon as it becomes available. All right. We're going to bring in the next caller, guys. Let's see. Who do we have? Katie Love by the Moon. Katie, another good friend of the program, longtime listener. Looks like Katie's got to get her microphone turned on. But in the meantime, I'm just going to show the website real quick. And, of course, it's very polished. It looks great. Good job, Zak. And this is awesome to know that this is out here because, obviously you could download the documents previously from James O'Keefe and his outfit at Project Veritas. But to have this right here and to have it presented in an article format, very nice, very easy to use as a red pill tool.
Are you trying to screen share? Because we only see you.
No.
They're saying that the links for instance, carnivory diet and Zak's site is not
working,
showing up.
Okay. Well, I don't know what's going on because I was showing off the web page, but now it goes back to all of us. So I don't know. Maybe it was a delay or something. I don't know. But here, I'm gonna try this one more. Oh, it's HTTPS. That might be my problem right there. Well, there we go. Now somebody's sharing it. Who's sharing it?
That's me.
That's you. Okay.
Yeah. So you can see the blacklist really easily without having to dig through the links. I've kind of put that on the surface level right there. You can also, here's the new thing that I've added is support. If you guys want to support me, I'm taking a $5 donation, just basically give me a cup of coffee. And there's, for the bigger donations, we have a 501c3 sponsorship by none other than Dr. Robert Epstein.
Oh, that's cool.
Epstein.
And he's been very generous to support us. So if anybody wants to pay me instead of Uncle Sam, you can get a 1-for-1 deduction off your taxes by using the support page at ZakVorhies.com.
Excellent. Good stuff. All right, Katie, are you there yet? I do see a microphone, Katie. I'm going to unmute you. If you could unmute yourself, Katie, then you can join the conversation. Are you there?
Yeah, believe it or not, I actually did.
Excellent. So tell me, Katie by the Moon, what's on your mind?
Well, actually, I wanted to say one thing and then just ask Maryam a question if I could.
Sure.
Okay, first of all, I'm a firm believer. I'm like where Maryam was. I lost 130 pounds. A diet, when I hear people say they're on a diet, it disturbs me because a diet is what you eat. it's not about this diet, that diet. When you label it, it kind of makes it more psychologically and emotionally difficult to achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve. And that's just my personal point of view, on the whole subject, that is, of dieting. But I have the big question for every woman in chat.
Okay.
All right, Mary, here we
I'm
go.
ready. I'm ready.
All right. So we know sugar is bad. We know gluten is bad. But as far as skin goes, there can be sometimes those, I forget the condition, but it's kind of like fleshy little tiny bumps that almost nobody can see can start appearing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's often, yeah, go ahead. Continue.
So it's diet related, but I guess I was asking what kind of things can actually improve your skin besides like.
I am a firm believer in infrared sauna, and I would suggest that. I would do dry scrubbing, and consider that maybe it's candida that can cause those bumps. Mold can also cause those little skin bumps, but it's something from the inside. And also looking at your liver. I just started taking from a company some freeze-dried aloe, and that's also excellent for the skin. I just started that. So those would be my recommendations. But you could, like, blueberries is an excellent antioxidant, but for some people they're allergic. So it really depends on how deep you want to go. Again, I would do, Cyrex has a great food sensitivity test. And is it for you specifically? Do you have those little skin bumps? It also can be associated with lymph. That's why I said the dry brushing and the infrared sauna.
Right. Yeah. No, I do have a brush for dry brushing, and I know you kind of go up towards the heart. So yeah, I got a great one. But yeah, it is for me. Basically, you just kind of wake up one day, and I was wondering, I have dimples. I've had them my whole life. When I was heavy, now that I've been thin for almost 5 years, it just sucks. You wake up one day and it's like, where did those fine lines come from? Wait, oh my God.
So you're talking about wrinkles, or you're talking about little bumps like rash? What do you talk? Both. Okay. Well, collagen intake, silica intake, royal jelly. There's tons of things to do to bolster the skin. I mean, it depends how far you want to get. Like now they're injecting stem cells, which I haven't yet tried, but as a biohacker guinea pig, when I come into that type of dough, I would try that as well.
Okay, because I did hear from somebody that she started functional medicine. She's in the skin medical industry, and she said she went to a functional doctor, and like her melasma and everything went away.
Yeah, I believe it. They're also they do these vampire where they take your blood and they recirculate it, and then they put it back in the face. But there's certainly things, but from my perspective, it's just to find out what's going on with your hormones. If it's like when I was detoxing from mold and taking cholestyramine, which is very harsh, I had those little bumps for quite a while, and they eventually went away.
All right. Katie, we've got 3 minutes left, and I wanted to try to get one more caller in before the end. So I want to say thank you for the call tonight, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks. Take care, you guys.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
All right, we're going to go for one more caller, guys. I do need to say thank you to Chris Hawkins. He said it gives a whole new meaning to a French press. This is in regards to the coffee enemas, yes. And he said, this is my favorite part, the youngsters and older people getting involved. Love it, love it. Thank you, Father, for all the many blessings. And that's in regard to Richard calling in. And then Shar, will diet help idiopathic peripheral neuropathy? I don't know if that's something we can answer specifically, but Chris Hawkins, who gave the super chats, he is the last caller. Chris, are you there, buddy? Chris, hello. Maybe while he's getting his microphone set, can you answer that at all about idiopathic peripheral neuropathy?
I would say that I would need to do a deeper dive, that you can heal if it's a neurological issue. You can, again, diet, CBD has been helpful with neuropathy, but again, finding out the root, right? Because you can have breast cancer and it could be because of a virus, it could be because of toxins. So I'll leave it at that.
All right. Chris, you're on the air, buddy. What's going on? What's on your mind?
Oh, man, I didn't think I was going to get in tonight. I was clicking around and I hung up and I was like, no, not tonight.
Well, you were at the top of the list, so good stuff.
I knew it, right? Timing, huh? Timing.
It's all about it.
You know, I like all of this that we've talked about tonight. It's amazing. You know, I broke my neck and back in an auto accident, and God put the right people on the road at the right time to save me from this accident.
Good.
So I know what it is to go through opiates and Suboxone and all of that stuff. And, you know, if you're out there and you're having a problem with opiates or heroin or whatever, you know, Suboxone's a great thing, but my suggestion, and listen to your doctor first, but get off Suboxone within a month or 2 or 3, because it's bad stuff. It's good right at the beginning, but it makes it worse. So anyways.
All right.
But, you know, I've called in a few times, and each time after I get off the phone, I forgot to ask you if we could pray, you know, because this is a big deal that's happening in our country and our world. You know, we are going through the Great Awakening. And it's so when this is done, you know, if I could pray, if that's okay with you, I'd like to do that.
Sure, Chris, you can close out the show with that if you want.
All right, great. So, well, I really, honestly, that's all I had tonight. So I'd like to just pray for everybody.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Well, Father, thank you for all of this that you are bringing to us right here, right now. And I just thank you for Red Pill 78 for having the cojones to do all of this good work and being such a wonderful guy. I'm a wonderful guy, and I see you outranking me a little bit, and I don't say that much, man. And you're amazing. I gotta say that, man. You're amazing. But you know, we need to pray a lot and just love on each other. Just love on each other, and not expect anything out of it. But thank you, Father, for your Son Jesus Christ to pay the price that we could never pay, so we get to be your family. You're living through us, and that's the greatest gift we could ever get.
Amen.
Amen.
Well, Chris, thank you very much for those kind words, sir. I really do appreciate it, and
thank you.
I appreciate everybody who was here with us tonight. So thanks again for the super chats, and thanks for calling, Chris.
Thank you.
You're welcome, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, for sure.
All right. Well, I just want to remind everybody that directly after this on Quite Frankly, you can go watch a replay of our friend Zach Voorhees having a conversation with Frank. So after this, if you guys want to go head over there and see that, Maryam and Zach, I'm going to give you guys the last word.
Go ahead, Zach.
Okay. Hey, did you see the John Dennis guy? He just got tweeted by Trump. I did an interview a couple days before he got tweeted. I sent him a contact for you, Red Pill.
Cool.
You to do an intro. He's a really fascinating person. He thinks that the whole housing crisis in San Francisco and California in general is just manufactured, that it's all done as part of corruption to increase housing prices. So as a real estate developer, I see a real chance to unseat Pelosi's seat, which is what he's running for. President Trump just retweeted him to give him an endorsement, essentially. So, you know, I think that would be a really great interview for you to have on your channel, because he is just a fantastic person.
I would love to have him, and I would love to help unseat Nancy Pelosi. Whatever part to play in that I can, I would absolutely love it. So please, yes, definitely put us in touch. All right, Maryam?
I want to say thank you to you, RP, for having me on the show again. And for Chris, I'm all for prayer. No matter what religion you are, just coming together and praying. We need more praying. And then I also espouse just more kindness, less hate, more civility, and just to realize that don't be used as a pawn, be an individual, speak up, have courage in this great awakening. And that I invite you guys to please follow me on Twitter and check out my array of videos on YouTube. Independent journalists, we need them. And just to, I'm standing for freedom of speech and just grateful to be engaged in this battle, for lack of a better word, with Zak Voorhees.
All right. Well, both of you, thank you for being a voice in the wilderness. Thank you for your courage, and it's my pleasure to have you guys back on the show. I really do appreciate it. Maryam, thank you for everything. Zak, I'm so glad that we've met. All right, guys, as always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News for Saturday Night Livestream. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.